Hello everyone, this is Dr. Yuvarajan, Professor and Head of Department of Respiratory Medicine, Sri Manakular Medical College and Hospital, Pondicherry. Interstitial lung disease, what we call as an ILD, it's a group of lung disease which specifically involves the interstitium, which is the very thin area of the lung where your oxygenation occurs. So those patients who got ILD have a persistent cough and dyspnea, and ultimately in severe interstitial lung disease you will get hypoxemia. So there are a lot of diseases which are included in ILD with either known causes and unknown causes. So for the diagnosis of ILD, what is very important is that you should have a proper clinical history. You should take a proper history from the patient. Along with that, you take a radiology either with X-ray and CT. The HRCT plays a major role, that is high resolution CT scan plays a major role in the diagnosis of ILD and also in the grouping of different ILDs. So what is the latest advance that what we are doing right now nowadays is that, so not only with the radiology, so we are taking biopsy. So biopsies are very crucial to know the exact histopathology of interstitial lung disease. So in olden days what we had is we do a surgical lung biopsy, which is more traumatic to the patient. But nowadays we do a transbronchial cryobiopsy, which is a boon to the interventional pulmonology unit. So with that, with not much of difficulty, we can take the sample of the lung, so to type or to subgroup the interstitial lung disease. So as I already mentioned, transbronchial cryobiopsy is one of the real boon for interventional pulmonologists to get a biopsy to subgroup or subtype this idiopathic ILD, that is IPF, what I just told. So we in the Department of Respiratory Medicine, Sri Manakular Medical College and Hospital is equipped with advanced technology to take a biopsy with less trauma to the patients. In olden days, for getting a biopsy, getting a chunk of tissue from the lung, we have to open the lung. We have to do a thoracotomy with the help of surgeon under general anesthesia. Whereas with this available technique, even a bronchoscopy, with the help of cryobiopsy, we can take a piece of lung and we can subgroup what type of ILD is there, and that will help us to better manage this group of patients. So the treatment of ILD actually starts with a good diagnosis. So basically, if you want to treat the ILD properly, you need to sit with the patient, take a proper history and diagnose it properly. As I told you already that ILD is a broad spectrum of a group of diseases. There are a lot of diseases included in that broad spectrum. So we need to subtype that what type of ILD the patient is having. Then we can decide the treatment properly. So those patients who got ILD with a known cause, with a known exposure to any organic or inorganic test, or known exposure to any drugs, or known exposure to any other factors, you try to curtail that factors, try to curtail that exposure. So that is one of the primary aim in the treatment of that group of ILD. In addition to it, we use immunosuppressive therapies, including steroids and other drugs for those patients who got a connective tissue disorder associated ILD, that we call it as a CTD related ILD. So there are certain group of people, even after a good clinical history, even after a good evaluation, we could not find the cause exactly why the patient is developing ILD. So this group of patients, what we call it as idiopathic ILD, where there is no cause can be identified with all the available investigations. So this idiopathic ILD, once again, there are a lot of diseases are there in that group. The commonest one what we see as IPF, that is idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, that is lung is getting fibrosed without any reason. Lung is getting fibrosed. So it is a progressive disease. Once you are not treating, it is almost similar to a cancer if you are not treating. So we have two important drugs to curtail the fibrosis of this lung. The two drugs what we commonly use is pirfenidone and nintedanib. So nintedanib is a drug that is there available for the past 5 years, but for the past 1 year it has been rampantly used in India. And nintedanib shows very good response in curtailing the reduction in the lung function associated with the pulmonary fibrosis. As we are facing COVID pandemic, now almost like at the end of second wave. So we see a lot of those patients who got really sick in the ICU, who got a severe COVID pneumonia. After the discharge, they are not so well, because most of the patients have some crippling complaints, like they have a persistent dry cough, they have a persistent dyspnea because of even after the recovery of COVID. So this is due to the residual damage that is caused because of the severe COVID pneumonia. So the post-COVID sequelae includes the lung sequelae because of the damage caused by the virus, and also these patients will have unexplained fatigue This cannot be avoided with all the available things. So all these things has to be taken care while managing the patient. This post-COVID sequelae, patients have a cough and breathlessness. So how we can manage? So basically the management protocols, we don't have a clear-cut definitive guidelines to appropriately manage these group of patients, but what we follow here that I am going to discuss with you. So basically those patients who got a dry cough and a significant amount of fibrosis, so they got a significant fibrosis clinically and also radiologically, these group of patients can be benefited with antifibrotics, whatever I told already, but these antifibrotics should not be used, should not be misused for all the patients. There are certain subset of patients only will be benefited with this. Other group of patients can be symptomatically managed. So they can be given, if the patient is having hypoxemia, they can be given home based oxygen continuously, there is no need for hospitalization. If the patient is having cough, you can suppress the cough with any cough suppressants or any safe cough suppressants, non-centrally acting, non-sedative cough suppressants, and other nutritive measures also you can include in your therapeutic monitoring.